Through all the stories shared in class, we have seen characters fulfilling their destiny and reaching their happily ever after. But why is this the case? Is this just handed to them? And more importantly, what can we take away from this in reaching our own destiny and happily ever after? When I was little, I remember my mother and father reading me books of happily ever afters, like the Disney Princess Tales for instance. Having the underdeveloped brain at this age, like Boyd discussed in his novel On the Origin of Stories, I took this ending at face value. I did not think for a second that the ending would be anything else but happy and perfect. This contributed to the feeling of a safe haven I found as a child in the comfort of my home and with my parents, as I discussed in dmp3. As I grew out of this phase, I began dismissing the stories with happy endings as being unrealistic and childish. Without even giving them a chance, I looked at these stories as nonsense tales, like the Lazy Jack story and the Epaminondas story, where the characters reached their destiny and got their happy ending without deserving it or achieving it for themselves or with the help of another. My idea of a safe haven had been shattered as I moved out of my home and lost confidence in finding my own happy ending. But through the course of this class, I have realized what a mistake I have made. Many stories with happy endings depict the contrast of someone who is lost and eventually someone who is found, and they have to work towards being found. They must show true courage and determination to reach their destiny in order to receive help through a guide. They are not just handed their happy ending like I always thought. The way they are found can provide deep insights into overcoming obstacles and adversity in one's life, to reach their destiny and find their own happy ending. I hope that realizing the lessons I have missed out on from stories will help me to find my own safe haven, find my happy ending, and take me on a path to ultimately reaching my destiny. Moving from lost to found is no simple task, yet in most of the stories, at some point a character is lost and at some point that character is found. For instance, in the tiger story, Prince was lost throughout the story, moving from place to place, controlled by his fear. He was finally found when he realized that showing his fear only made the situation worse, and the creatures are gentle if you show confidence in return. On an individual level, when I first went to Poolsville High School magnet program, I knew no one. I was sad and worried I would never make friends. Eventually, after putting in the effort to open myself up to making new friends, I was introduced to my guide, Kina. She led me to find a group of best friends I could have asked for. On a local level, reality TV star and Skinny Girl Liquor Company owner Bethany Frankel came from a very troubled background. Her mother was addicted to drugs, father nowhere to be found, and stepdads who would abuse her and her mother at times. She was lost. She managed to find the courage to rise up from this troubled background and make a name for herself in New York City. She gained the role of a New York City housewife on The Real Housewives of NYC and began her liquor company targeted to women who wanted a low-calorie option. Both the show and her company are immensely successful. Her guide was her talent, and she followed her talent all the way to the top. Often, the characters that are trying to reach their destiny and find their happy ending require the help of another. It isn't a walk in the park as I always thought, but they are put to the test and must reach their limits to achieve the desired result. For instance, in the brocade story, the old woman slaved over the creation of her brocade for years. It made her very ill and weak, but she knew that if everything fell into place, she would reach her destiny of creating a better life for her and her children. Yet, she still needed the help of her children to cross the fire mountain and icy sea and retrieve the brocade that had blown away in the wind. The characters must deserve their happy ending, and if they show true character, courage, and strength, they are given a guide to help them in their quest. On a local level, this is exhibited in the independence of the United States on July 4th. America had to fight for its freedom. The Declaration of Independence and the status of America as an independent nation did not come easy, but through all of the effort and the help of thousands of American soldiers acting as guides, a happy ending was reached. I want to use this as a lesson for myself. As I discussed in my dmp3, I am on the quest for a safe haven. I now know that it is not an easy road, and that it will require effort to reach my happy ending. I must not get discouraged, because although I may be lost now, I am confident that I will be found. We hopefully have all transformed from naivety in storytelling to understanding the real depth that goes into the happily ever after tale.